Let's click on new. Now enter the name VM01, and for the type let's select Linux, subtype other Linux. Now go to hardware and select the base memory as 4 GB. Processors we can use 2 CPU. Now looking at hard disk, we are going to use a virtual hard disk, and we are going to allocate approximately maybe 20 GB. After allocating, just ensure it's VDI, which is virtual disk image. Now go to settings and go to systems, uncheck floppy, go to processors, nothing to do here, so let's move on to acceleration and choose KVM. Now let's select display and putting it to the max for video memory for good interface. Now graphics controller setting, let's use VBox SVGA. Storage, here let's select our ISO image. We are going to use Android 9.0. Now let's go to the network settings and we are going to choose bridged adapter for the internet connection and select OK. Now click on start, or you can double tap on it for it to start, and wait for it to boot up. Now select advanced options and select the fourth option. Click on yes. Click on OK. And as you can see, Android is starting. And here we can click on start. We can skip. And now select the local division, which is Fiji, and set the time, the correct time, and then click on next. We can turn off the location for now as it's not needed, and just click on accept. You can set a pin. For now I'm not going to set a pin. And click on quick step and select always. And there you have it. Welcome to Android 9.0. Now taking a look at the battery settings, let's go on to settings, click on battery. Now taking a look at the battery saver, we can turn it on and this will maximize our battery life. We can set it at maybe 20%. It will turn automatically, or we can manually turn it on. Also there is a battery manager. Now the battery manager detects when applications drain battery, and this will provide a report and we can optimize the battery by doing that. There's also a battery percentage where it shows how much your battery is. Now we can also take a look at our apps and notifications. We can restrict some of the apps that are not in use. So in that way we can maximize our battery usage. Right, looking at battery, and there we go, there is battery restriction. We can restrict. For here we are using Play Store as an example. There is also battery optimization. We can optimize all of our apps so that maximum battery can be saved. As you can see, all of the applications, they are on battery optimization mode. And there we go. This was battery. Now let's explore storage. Click on storage. Now taking a look at internal shared storage. Now in order to maximize the storage space, we can free up some of the unnecessary data that is in our system. Here right now there is nothing, but we can maximize it. There is also a storage manager. We can turn it on. Now this will optimize our storage as storage manager manages your storage. Now we can take a look at the apps. We can maximize even more storage by clearing the cache of unused apps. Like for example Google, we can clear cache and 2.02 MB of storage has been cleared. So these are some of the ways of how we can maximize and optimize our. Now let's explore memory. In order to view our memory setting, we have to go to System and we have to enable it. So go to About Tablet and click on build number 7 times. So now you can see you are now a developer. So let's go back, move to Advanced, click on it, and you can see there are developer options, and now we can view our memory settings. Now let's click on running services. Here we can see our RAM usage on the apps that are currently running. We can also view the cached processes. And let's click on memory. We can also view memory usage of individual apps. And we can also sort it. We can see here the maximum usage of apps, and we can maximize the RAM performance by stopping some of the apps that are not in use. For example, here is calendar that is not in use, so we can force stop it, and this can maximize RAM performance. Now there is also another way to maximize our RAM performance or memory performance. Let's go to developer options and search for background processes. Here we can limit the background process Currently it's at standard limit, but we can change it to no background processes. This will ensure that our RAM performance is maximized. Now taking a look at security, let's click on security and location. Now the first thing comes up is Google Play Protect. This is used to maximize the security of our apps. It ensures no harmful apps are found, and we can also scan and check regularly. Now another way to optimize the security features is through security updates. We can regularly check for updates and make our operating system secure. We can maximize our system even more by setting screen locks. Currently there is none, but we can set it. Also, we can go to apps and notifications, and we can manage some of our security system there. Like for example, going to Google Chrome, going to permissions, and we can set what it can access. For example, we can turn the location part off so that it cannot track our location, and we can allow for it to access our storage. So these are some of the ways we can maximize and optimize our security. Let's take a look at performance management. Go to System, go to Advanced, and let's go to Developer Options again. Now let's search for animation settings. We can scroll down and check, or we can just search for it. Will make it simple. Animation. And in order to maximize performance, we can turn the animations off so that there is faster performance. We can just do it like this. Also, for better performance of apps, it is recommended that you regularly update your apps. So let's go to Manage Apps and Device on Play Store and update all our apps for better performance. Just click on Update All. Now enabling ARM architecture. Android OS does not support ARM architecture, and in order to run Candy Crush we have to enable the ARM architecture. So let's go on Google Chrome and click on the link that is provided on the video. Now it will automatically start to download, so let's wait for the download to finish. Now as we see, the download is completed. Now let's go and open our file. Now click on the three dot and show internal storage. Click on the virtual box. Now let's create a new folder and name it as ARM and click on OK. Click on the downloads folder, and here is our downloaded file. Now let's rename it as provided in the video. Now click on OK. Now let's copy this file and paste it on the ARM folder that we have created. Now let's go to our settings and click on Android x86 options and enable native bridge. Turn it on. Now let's go to our terminal emulator, type SU and press enter. This will enable the super user request. Now enter the code that is provided, system bin enable native bridge. And there we go. Now it has been successfully installed, and now it will be able to run Candy Crush successfully. Click on exit and this will terminate the terminal emulator. Installing Candy Crush is pretty straightforward. Let's go to Play Store and let's search for Candy Crush. The game is Candy Crush Saga, so the second option. And let's click on install. Wait for it to download and install. This might take time depending on your internet connection. And now let's enable ADB, which is the Android Debug Bridge. This will allow communication between our PC to the Android device, and this will show the CPU percentage. So let's go to this PC and make a new folder and name it as ADB. Now let's go on to our Google Chrome and search for Android Developer Tools SDK and click on the link where I clicked. Now let's scroll down and download Tools for Windows, and let's agree to the terms and let's download. So once the download has finished, you have to extract the zipped folder. Now extract the zipped folder into the folder that we have created on this PC, which on the ADB folder. And let's click on extract. Now click on properties on this PC and copy the address of the platform tools. Now click on properties and we have to search for advanced system settings, and let's click on environment variables. Let's click on path and let's click on edit, and let's create a new path and paste our link. Then click on OK. So now let's go to our CMD. And let's check if our IDB has been successfully installed, and as we can see, it has been successfully installed. Now let's connect our VirtualBox Android device, which is the VM01, to the IDB in order to see the CPU percentage of our Android OS. So let's open the VM01 and let's go to settings, go to okay, let's search USB debugging. There we can see, and enable USB debugging. Click on OK. And here we have to know the IP address of our Wi-Fi. So let's click on the settings. Click on advanced. And there we can see our IP address of our Wi-Fi. So now we have to enter this IP address into our CMD. So let's open CMD and let's type the following codes, which is in small, IDB connect, the IP address, and ensure there is a colon and 4 5s entered. Now we can see it's connected. Now let's type IDB shell, and you can see the x86 architecture of our Android device. And now let's type top, not stop, top -D 1. And there we go. Here we can see our CPU percentage usage of our Android OS. Now let's look at the before and after results. First of all, before running the app, let's take a look at the memory usage. So as you can see, the memory is not being currently used because the app has not been opened yet. Now if we take a look at device info, I have downloaded this app from Play Store. You can see the RAM usage is currently 38 to 39%. And if we take a look at our CPU usage, let's go to CMD and let's type IDB and the IP address, IDB connect, and the IP address of our Wi-Fi. And let's type IDB shell, and let's type top -D 1. So as you can currently see, since Candy Crush is not running, the CPU usage is 0% for Candy Crush. So let's type Ctrl+C to stop the CPU processing, and let's open Candy Crush and see what are the after effects. Let's click on play. And let's take a look. Type top negative D1 again to start the processing. And as you can see, the RAM CPU usage is maximizing to 132% and minimum of 118. So now let's take a look at our RAM. Let's close the app and click on device info again. And as you can see, the RAM usage percentage has increased from 38 to 39 to 40 to 41%. Now if we go to app info of Candy Crush, let's take a look at that also. Go to advanced and let's go to memory, and we can see average memory usage is 11 MB and maximum is 554 MB. So that was the before and after. Now let's take a look at some of the optimization strategies in order to maximize RAM and CPU performance. Let's search for don't keep activities. Right, it destroys every activity as soon as the user leaves it. This frees up the RAM and CPU space. Now let's search for limit background processes, and you can set it to no background processes. Right, let's double check it. So it's no. Now let's also search for some animation, unnecessary animation. Now animator duration scale, let's set it to off. The transition animation scale off, and window animation scale to off. Now also there is a remove animations option, so let's turn it on. Now another way to maximize our CPU and RAM performance is by forcing some of the unnecessary apps to stop. So let's go ahead and do that. Go to apps and notifications, see all apps on 24 apps, and now let's force stop some of the unnecessary apps. For example, camera, calendar. Let's skip calendar. Let's use calculator and gallery. Now let's go back and search for do not disturb. We can turn do not disturb on. So let's click sound and vibration. Let's turn the touch sound on also. And let's click on turn on now. So do not disturb has been turned on. As you can see, the sign and the top right, the dash sign. So now let's go ahead and open Candy Crush and see the after results. Let's click on play. And let's go and type top -1, -D1 and see the CPU results. And as you can see, from 132% to 102%, so we can see 101%. So CPU has been optimized. As you can see, the CPU percentage has steadily declined. Now let's take a look at our RAM percentage or RAM usage. So let's close the app and let's go to our device info. And there we go, from 40% to 29 to 31%.